According to the National Electrical Code, using different gauge wires in an electrical installation is permissible under certain conditions. Let's examine the relevant sections of the NEC to understand the requirements. Section 300.15 C1 addresses situations where different sizes of conductors are used. It states that different sizes of conductors shall not be used in the same raceway unless the larger conductor is used for mechanical protection. In the scenario of transitioning from 14 gauge to 12 gauge wire, the 12 gauge wire can provide mechanical protection to the 14 gauge wire. This provision acknowledges that larger gauge wires offer greater physical durability and can safeguard smaller gauge wires from damage. Section 300.15 C2 focuses on splicing conductors of different sizes. It mandates that conductors of different sizes shall be spliced together in accordance with 110.14 B. This section highlights the importance of proper splicing techniques when dealing with dissimilar wire gauges. Section 110.14 B delves into the specifics of making splices. It requires that splices shall be made only with approved splicing devices. This means that you cannot simply twist the wires together and call it a day. Approved splicing devices, such as wire nuts or crimp connectors, are designed to create a secure and reliable electrical connection between the wires. Using approved splicing devices ensures that the connection is mechanically sound and provides adequate electrical conductivity. Section 210.20 pertains to overcurrent protection for branch circuits. It states that branch circuits rated 15 or 20 amps shall not supply continuous loads in excess of 12 amps. This rule is in place to prevent overloading the circuit and potentially causing a fire hazard. In the given scenario, where the circuit is protected by a 15 amp breaker, the continuous load should not exceed 12 amps. The use of 12 gauge conductors in this case is acceptable as long as the load remains within the specified limit. To recap, it is legal to run 12 gauge wires in junction then to 14 gauge wires, but only if certain conditions are met. Firstly, the larger 12 gauge conductor must be used to provide mechanical protection for the smaller 14 gauge conductor. Secondly, the splice between the 12 gauge and 14 gauge wires must be made using an approved splicing device in accordance with NEC section 110.14 B. Thirdly, the branch circuit must be protected by a 15 amp breaker, and the continuous load on the circuit must not exceed 12 amps as per NEC section 210.20. It is crucial to adhere to these requirements to ensure the safety and reliability of the electrical installation. Improperly splicing wires or overloading a circuit can lead to dangerous consequences, such as electrical fires or equipment damage. Always consult with a qualified electrician if you have any doubts about the proper way to install or modify electrical wiring. The NEC is a comprehensive set of rules and regulations that are designed to protect people and property from electrical hazards. By following the guidelines outlined in NEC, you can ensure that your electrical installations are safe and compliant. Remember that electrical work can be dangerous, and it is always best to err on the side of caution. If you are not comfortable working with electricity, it is best to leave the job to a qualified electrician. They have the knowledge, skills, and experience to perform electrical work safely and effectively. Here are some additional points to consider when working with different gauge wires. The ampacity of a wire is the maximum amount of current that it can safely carry. The ampacity of a wire is determined by its gauge, insulation type, and ambient temperature. The NEC provides tables that list the ampacity of different types of wires. It is important to choose a wire gauge that is appropriate for the amount of current that it will be carrying. Using a wire that is too small can cause it to overheat and potentially start a fire. When splicing wires, it is important to use the correct type of splicing device. Wire nuts are commonly used for splicing smaller gauge wires, while crimp connectors are often used for larger gauge wires. It is important to follow the manufacturer's instructions when using any type of splicing device. Over-tightening a wire nut can damage the wires, while under-tightening can result in a loose connection. A loose connection can cause arcing, which can generate heat and potentially start a fire. When running wires through a raceway, it is important to avoid overcrowding the raceway. Overcrowding a raceway can make it difficult to pull wires through and can also reduce the ampacity of the wires. The NEC specifies the maximum number of wires that can be installed in a raceway of a given size. When working with electrical wiring, it is always important to disconnect the power before starting any work. This can be done by turning off the circuit breaker that supplies power to the circuit. It is also a good idea to use a voltage tester to verify that the power is off before touching any wires. Electricity can be dangerous, and it is important to take all necessary precautions to protect yourself from electrical shock. Wear appropriate personal protective equipment, such as gloves and safety glasses. Avoid working in wet or damp conditions. If you are not sure how to do something safely, ask a qualified electrician for help. The NEC is updated every 3 years, so it is important to stay up to date on the latest changes. The NEC is available for purchase from the National Fire Protection Association. You can also find information about the NEC on the internet. There are many online resources that provide information about electrical safety and wiring practices. Be sure to consult with a qualified electrician if you have any questions about the NEC or electrical wiring. They can provide you with expert advice and guidance. Remember that electrical work is not a do-it-yourself project. It is important to hire a qualified electrician to perform any electrical work in your home or business. A qualified electrician has the knowledge, skills, and experience to do the job safely and correctly. Hiring a qualified electrician can help to protect you and your property from electrical hazards. Electrical safety is everyone's responsibility. By following the guidelines outlined in the NEC and taking the necessary precautions, you can help to prevent electrical accidents. Keep your home and workplace safe by being aware of electrical hazards and taking steps to mitigate them. If you see something that looks unsafe, report it to a qualified electrician. Together, we can make our community safer by promoting electrical safety awareness. Understanding the NEC and its requirements is essential for anyone working with electrical wiring. It is a comprehensive set of rules and regulations that are designed to protect people and property from electrical hazards. By following the guidelines outlined in the NEC, you can ensure that your electrical installations are safe and compliant. Always consult with a qualified electrician if you have any questions about the NEC or electrical wiring. They can provide you with expert advice and guidance. And remember to stay safe when working with electricity. Disconnect the power before starting any work and take all necessary precautions to protect yourself from electrical shock. Electricity is a powerful force, but it can be managed safely with the proper knowledge and precautions. The principles discussed can be applied to various scenarios involving different gauge wires and circuit configurations. Understanding the reasoning behind the code requirements allows for informed decision-making and safe electrical practices. Always prioritize safety and consult with qualified professionals when necessary. Remember, the National Electrical Code is a living document that evolves to reflect new technologies and safety concerns. Staying informed about the latest updates ensures that your electrical work remains compliant and safe. Continuous learning and professional development are essential for anyone working in the electrical field. Embrace opportunities to expand your knowledge and skills, and always strive to improve your understanding of electrical principles and safety practices. By doing so, you contribute to a safer and more reliable electrical infrastructure for everyone. Keep in mind that electrical codes and regulations may vary depending on your location. It's crucial to consult with local authorities and adhere to the specific requirements in your jurisdiction. This ensures that your electrical work meets all applicable standards and regulations. When working on electrical projects, proper planning is essential. Take the time to carefully assess the situation, identify potential hazards, and develop a detailed plan before starting any work. This includes selecting the appropriate materials, tools, and equipment, as well as ensuring that you have a clear understanding of the task at hand. Thorough planning can help to prevent mistakes and ensure that the project is completed safely and efficiently. Finally, remember that electrical work is a complex and challenging field that requires specialized knowledge and skills. If you're not comfortable working with electricity, it's always best to leave the job to a qualified electrician. Their expertise and experience can help to ensure that the work is done safely and correctly, protecting you and your property from potential hazards.